Hey guys, and welcome back to ScarletSprites. So, a short while ago, Bob messages me and asks if I want to take a look at something. And he has always been great about this sort of thing, and he kindly introduces me to people and products that are more arcade in nature at times. But as you guys know, I've been on a bit of a hiatus, so things are kind of hard right now. But he says it's a Neo Geo flash card. And you guys know I'm always skeptical. I'm the what problem is this solving pessimistic guy. We already have two Neo Geo flashcards, one of which has two varieties. And then he says it's fast. Now, this means different things to different people. And at this point, I'm still skeptical because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so it probably shaves something like 3 seconds off of a load time. It's a nerd improvement, but it doesn't really change the overall experience. I'll tell you right now, I was completely wrong about that. But then Bob offered up another tidbit and said, this one has a link port. All right, let's take a look at it. This is the Backbit Platinum Neo Geo flash card. I'm not going to lie to you, the shell with the pastel gradients has really kind of grown on me here. And with that, I should immediately note that this is a prototype, so anything you see here is subject to change and isn't final, including that cart shell, which I believe is being shown as black on the current pre-order page. Okay, quick overview left to right. For starters, you have my favorite and exclusive feature, the link port. This does not exist on either the DarkSoft or Neo SD flash carts. There's a switch then to indicate you are using the link in AES or MVS mode. And for me, this will be in MVS mode here in just a little bit. There's an activity light here, which we will see working shortly. You have a USB-C port for development purposes. And then finally, a micro SD card slot that supports cards up to 2 terabytes in size. As far as setting up said micro SD card, your card needs to be FAT32 or exFAT formatted first, and then you can grab the MAME versions of the Neo Geo ROMs and extract each game to its own folder. The Backbit cart will load all unencrypted games as is with no conversion required. For encrypted Neo Geo games, there is a free tool offered to process them and make them ready for use with the Backbit cart. Overall, really simple layout, but it is different from the DarkSoft and Neo SD carts. All right, let's get to the meat of this. This is the menu of the Backbit cartridge. It's simple, it's text only, but what I really like about this is how snappy it feels. It's just so easy to scroll. It's not sluggish at all. It doesn't have that weighed down feeling, if you know what I mean. Pushing right and left on the stick will also page through the menu, allowing you to really zip through your list of titles quickly. You'll also note that as of now, the firmware version is listed at the top. So let's get to what everyone probably wants to see, the loading of a game. This is almost magical if you're used to using a Neo SD, so let's go ahead and load up Mark of the Wolves. It's about 12 seconds, guys. 12 seconds, that's it, and you're off and playing. The Backbit flash cart loads the larger of the Neo Geo titles in 12 seconds or less. The trade-off with this is that the game doesn't then stay in the cart's memory, meaning each time you power on, you'll need to load a title. But that said, it's 12 seconds for the larger of the games. The smaller titles, you can blink and you'll miss it. If you want to switch games, you could simply power cycle, or if you're using a Unibias, you could trigger a soft reboot by pulling up its in-game menu by pressing Start, A, B, and C, and when the system restarts, you'll be back at the Backbit Platinum menu. If you're wondering, the Backbit cart also works with some of the more recent Neo Geo offerings, including ports and homebrew. I was able to load and play Xenocrisis without any issues, as well as the recent Shinobi port. So the link port, this was my personal favorite on the cart because to date, no other Neo Geo flash cart is supporting this. I don't even think it's really common knowledge that some Neo Geo titles support link play, meaning that you can connect multiple Neo Geo systems together via cartridge to play across multiple cabinets. One of my favorite titles, League Bowling, supports link play, as does Riding Hero, which is complete garbage, and Thrash Rally. I've never been able to use this setup in my home arcade because I didn't own a second copy of League Bowling or Thrash Rally, and I sure as hell wasn't buying another copy of Riding Hero. But with the Backbit cartridge, I can now link my Big Red cabinet to the Astro City for League Bowling Night with the friends that I don't have. I've never set this up before, so I had to go into my Big Red and set the dips so that the board would register as ID1, which I can assume means it will be the master machine in the two setups. I then went over and did the very same thing for the Astro City that's running the MV1C, only this time I flipped the dips to get this to register as ID2. I also had to go into the soft dips and set League Bowling to yes for multiplay. The carts are connected via a simple male-to-male 3.5mm audio cable. I soft rebooted both machines just out of habit and then pressed start on the Big Red, and we're off and running here. And this was really cool to see in practice. I really can't imagine that many people have played League Bowling or any of the three supported titles in this manner. It's one of those lesser known Neo Geo features that's just very niche and I've never seen set up before. But now with the Backbit cart, it's certainly more feasible as there's no need to buy duplicates of cartridges. All right, so we have the link play squared away and working. We know we have lightning fast load times with even the largest games clocking in at just around 12 seconds. We've confirmed that home games load and run. So what are the drawbacks? I'll start with a subtle one that Nico called out to me on X, which is PCM2 decryption. I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently there are some audio glitches or distortions on other flash cards and even MAME with how PCM2 audio is handled. The clearest example I saw, or rather heard, was the scratch or pop after Basara's name in Samurai Showdown 5 Special. Take a listen here. You'll notice the pop scratch with the title running off of the Backbit.
Kubikiri Basara. Kubikiri Basara. Kubikiri Basara.
But here with my original cart, there is no such pop.
Kubikiri Basara. Kubikiri Basara.
So this isn't unique to the Backbit, as it seems like it's been called out with emulation and some other flash carts. It's a little nuanced, but it would be nice if this could be fixed and cleaned up to behave like a retail cart. The other issues have to do with using the Backbit in a multi-slot board setup. The cart doesn't come up fast enough on my 4 slots, so when the machine first boots, it's almost always only recognizing the other 3 carts that are inserted into the board, meaning you can't then cycle to the slot that the Backbit is in. I need to do a soft reset, and then by doing that, the cart can be seen by the board. Now to be clear, I have a prototype cartridge, and I know Evie said there has already been one revision past what I'm currently using. In addition, the carts that ship will come with an added flash ROM that will allow the final version to come online much faster than my prototype, and that should address the issue that I just described, but I did want to call this out just for the sake of transparency. Something else to consider with how this flash cart behaves is that once it loses power, it loses the game stored in its memory. So again, going back to my multi-slot setup, this won't behave the same way as a retail cart if you're looking to just pop it into an arcade cabinet and have things cycle through attract modes without first loading a game. Whereas something like the Neo SD Pro has that RAM slot that stores loaded games even after the cart loses power. With that, I can simply turn on my Big Red and whatever game I last loaded will be seen as that cart, and the system will work its way between attract modes of the 4 cartridges as normal. Lastly, and I want to stress one more time that I'm on a prototype board, I have had audio issues with the MV4F 4-slot MVS board. More like audio inconsistencies, I would say. The most common issue is that I can load a game, it plays fine, but then there is no audio at all. And I can soft reboot and the audio sometimes comes back. Other times I can play a game and get audio, but it's scratchy. I have tried the Backbit cart in multiple slots on the MV4F and have been able to reproduce this issue, whereas retail carts work fine in all 4 of the slots. However, removing all retail carts from the board and using the Backbit in the first slot does not cause any issues and everything works normally. But as soon as I place carts into the 3 empty slots and reboot, I lose audio on the Backbit cart and from the original games that have been put in. I've only had this issue on the MV4F. All the single slot boards I've tested have been fine with audio, and Evie confirmed that testing on 2 slot boards has not produced any audio issues either. All right, so overall, I found this cart to be really awesome, provided you're using a single or dual slot board currently, which I have to think at least 3/4 of you probably are. So framing things from that standpoint, games load incredibly fast. It supports pretty much every title I threw at it, including the recent homebrews, and it has a functioning link port that no other flash cart on the market has. It's tough because I feel like this is somewhat similar to the Darksoft CPS3 Ultra Sim situation. If you're wanting to play on real hardware and are looking for a multi-solution, I think this is an easy sell at $399. Personally, I own a Neo SD Pro and I like it and it does what I need it to do. I can store the larger games in the flash slots provided on the SD Pro and boot them quickly without having to wait 90 seconds once they're there, but those slots are limited and you'll have to do some minor management of games. With the Backbit, there are no such slots, but your wait time will never be more than 12 seconds anyways, and most games are going to load a lot faster than that. So it really depends on personal habits and how often you switch games. In short, if I didn't already own a Neo SD Pro, I'd definitely buy the Backbit. Now, if you're a 4-slot owner and are primarily wanting this for arcade use, as of today, you're fine provided you remove your other cartridges and only use the Backbit in the first slot of that board. You'll also lose the ability to power on the machine and have the game cycle without intervening and loading a game first on the Backbit. Remember, this is a prototype and the current PCB version is already one step beyond what I'm previewing here. I'm going to go ahead and guess that Eevee continues to work on things and the 4-slot audio issues get solved if they haven't been already. Ultimately, you may want to wait until that's confirmed if your primary use case is a 4-slot board. And I know someone will ask, and no, I do not have a 6-slot board, so I have no idea how the cart would behave in one of those. For now, I think it's safe to assume you're good to go if you're playing on a single or dual slot MVS setup. And beyond that, I'll just wait for confirmation that the audio issues are resolved on the 4 slots. So thanks for watching today, everyone. In closing, I want to thank Eevee for giving me and you guys a preview of what's to come. And really keep that in mind. This is a work in progress and a look at someone's project that is in mid-flight and not quite finished. And they felt comfortable enough to let us see it. It's perfectly normal to experience issues during development. I watched that happen with the Retro Tinks as well as the Mr. Cade. And while they're great products now, there is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to see those amazing things come to fruition. So kudos to Eevee for a very promising looking flash cart. I do think this certainly has an audience, as a Darksoft cart is over $600 if you can even find it. The standard Neo SD is about $360, I think, but it's out of stock, and the Pro version is almost $600. So to me, the Backbit hits the sweet spot at $399, and it's almost no wait time to flash games is a real no-brainer. It's an awesome cart. I'm looking forward to seeing the future revisions and firmware updates, and I suspect this is going to be a great alternative to anyone not wanting to spend the money on a Neo SD Pro.